Hey, everyone. I hope that you're doing good. More importantly, I want to say thank you to every single person that's locked in and listening. As of my voice right now, this has been a week that I have announced the podcast, and the podcast Season Dialogue has 500 downloads, which means that 500 folks are tapping it. The podcast was an intentional one. It was part of the bucket list that I had for myself that I wanted to do, that I wanted to explore that aspect of my life. And y'all, when I say that even when we think it's our timing, God has it to where he said, no, we gonna do it now. The original launch date for Season Dialogue was supposed to be January 2nd. And I had everything written down. I crossed all my T's, dotted all my I's, and I was like, yeah, we gonna do it. But everything started to come together before then. There was a process, and I just felt like, January 2nd will be the moment in which everything comes together. And God was like, nope, checked all the boxes and everything was ready. So, with that being said, I am elated that you are joining in and you are tapping in, and we here talking. And for today's episode, because I had to give you a backstory for today's episode, it is it's trusting in yourself and trusting in the moment and initiating what it is that you have inside of you. I want to give you a little bit of direction to pull you there, and then I'll give my thoughts. I turned 40 this year, in September, and 40 for me was really the groundbreaking age. I feel like that was poised for maturity, knowledge, and wisdom. But more importantly, 40 was the go-to age because my father didn't see 40, and my oldest brother was 1 month shy of seeing his 40th birthday. And I just remember with my father and my brother that 40 was the moment in which the age in which everyone kind of wants to see. And so it was disappointing that both my father and my brother didn't see that age. But also on a personal note, going into 40, and I felt it the latter part of 38, I felt an emerging and a change just in myself. There were things that I had, I just wasn't doing anymore. The things that used to, have me content or whatever didn't make me happy. I just started to envelop into what I feel was a better me. When 39 hit, I was like, oh, it's time to write down these goals. It's time to, put this stuff on paper. It is time to make some things happen. I was still scared because I've always been one of those people who like to be in the background. I'm not an upfront person, and I would feel listen, wherever you are in your journey, as far as, your relation to God or not, that's on you. For me personally, I felt like God was pulling me to some places that was very, very, very uncomfortable. But I also was feeling okay, God, go ahead. You had been trying to get me to this place so many times, and I just give up at this point. So there was also a moment of adaptation, and I was just spiritually open and free to the concept of God using me in whatever way that he was going to use me. More respectfully, when I started to walk into the realms in which I feel like God was opening up doors, I started to see the creativity in myself, and also the willingness to try some things that I had never tried before. But I also topped that off with, I had the space to understand that things will happen in its time, in its place, and in its own judgment. So many times before, when I wanted to walk into spaces of things that I thought that I wanted to do, it never really worked out because honestly, it just wasn't the right time. I feel like God builds us and puts us in position when it's right for us. Like, we can take heed and take hold of what it is that we want for ourselves, but sometimes we step in front of God's will, and therefore it's like tragic. It might seem like it's working right then, but it doesn't really last because we're not putting like God first, and we're not listening to the plans that He have for us. I'll say this. I've been doing photography for 13 years, and I'm going to be honest, just honest hour, 13 years. And I really got to a place where I was just like, whoa, like there is so much more that I feel like personally that I can do other than taking pictures. And it was a daunting thing that I was going through because I felt like I was at a place of complacency. And I hate being that way because complacency for me also caused bouts of depression. So I wasn't internally happy with the decisions that I was making every day, just getting up and taking pictures. Like, I knew that God was calling me and showing me some things, but it was like, I ain't ready yet. And more importantly, like, God, it's definitely on you. Again, at 39, like, I began to see some of the things that God was showing me. I'm not a speaker by no means. I've had so many invitations to speak at places and I've turned them down because, listen, the way my anxiousness and anxiety is set up, you don't want your girl to speak. And every time that I would turn those occasions down, I was, in some ways, I feel personally punished, because things just, after that, it wasn't manifesting, like it wasn't coming my way. Things that I wanted to do, it wasn't happening for me. And I felt like God was saying, I was giving you the opportunity, but you chose not to take it. So now guess what? Take a back seat. I'll get back to you when I'm ready, when I feel like, that time to present those ideas and all of those things you're ready for. Going back to putting ourselves before, the will of God or before our time, this social media age has really put a umbrella light spotlight on those who want to appear and seem better than what they are. And it's so frequent that we see people start things and they don't really come to pass because they are putting themselves in front of what it is that God wants them to actually do. Everyone, wants to be this great entrepreneur, but folks don't really know what it is to be an entrepreneur. Like, you are the manager of all. And you are attending not only to your business, but everybody else's business. And you have to make everybody happy. And then nobody talks about the time in which you really don't have for yourself. Because once you are an entrepreneur, baby, you done stepped into a whole nother realm. So I think that we, unconsciously put ourselves in position to be these great things, but not really counting the cost and not understanding what it is that God really has for us. You'll know when the right time is the right time, when everything flows together like congruently. I'll even say in another person's life that I have witnessed, this person had a dream to do something like that they've always wanted to do, and it never came to the surface because it just wasn't the right time. It wasn't necessarily anything that person was doing, but all of the resources that person needed was not manifesting and coming together the way that it should have if it was just easy. But it wasn't the right time. And once the time came, once the moment for that to come together, all of the resources came together. Money, the availability to have what that person needed financially, like it goes deep. And I think that when we get impatient with the process, we are saying that, okay, I don't trust nothing that's going on in the back end. I'm going to just make this happen. And then we fall by the wayside and nothing happens or come together. So I'll say this. I think it's very important that, number one, we trust the process, that we are leaning and moving towards a way of thought, wisdom, and just living in the moment to trust God. And I know at many times that is very, very hard to do because you see it for yourself. You feel it, you get the visions, and you feel like now is now. But when things are not unfolding easily, that is a surefire sign that it might not be the right time. Just let things flow. When we are putting ourselves before the thing that God has, we are messing up every single thing that comes behind it. For example, if you have this idea to start a business, and you go out and decide one day, you driving in your car and you say, you know what, I'm tired of waiting. I'm going to go take out a loan, for, let's say, $50,000, just a startup loan to get my stuff together. And you go and do that. Well, you get that loan and you may initially think like, yes, God pushed you through $50,000. You get that loan, you start everything up, and then the business is incredibly slow. That $50,000 is spent, and now you're scratching your head like, what did I do wrong? When it could have been like a plan B where God was putting this thing together, and you could have had people who invested in you to start this business. You could have had opportunities where if you needed products, let's say for your business, they were given to you at a low cost. There's always a way in which God moves. It's so mysterious, but you have to trust in the process and trust that you are sitting in a position right now where God is making all of these things work for your own good. I also want you to, just take a moment to not be so discouraged about where your life is headed if you don't think it's going as fast as you need it to go. The process of slowness, to me, is the best process because it takes you into an element of thinking further. And you slow down. When you're moving fast, everybody knows this and experiences this. When you move fast, you are moving at a pace in which you cannot operate the function of thinking. Like everything is happening so fast that you cannot even grasp the concept of conscious and analytical thinking. But when things are moving slow, you have the time to process, think, strategize, and get things into flow. So if you are in a space in which you have these ideas and these dreams and these things that you want to do, take a moment to step back. Watch how everything is operating around you, how everything is, coming together collectively. And then when the opportunity serves you right, when you feel that the opportunity is at its best, when everything is coming together as it should, that is the opportunity for you to move. Not when you get tired and say, I throw my hands up and I'm going to make it work. Because I promise you, that ain't where you want to be at. And that's not where you want to go. So take the time, process everything, let whatever is going to be. Do not put yourself in front of the will of God. And lastly, just enjoy the moments of being in this slow period, because this is, again, when you are able to feel, think, and strategize like your next move. And with that, that's it. I hope, the message, and I hope that the talk really gave you some moments of clarity. I hope that anything that I said resided in your heart and in your spirit. And I hope that you take the time to just, number one, believe in you. And secondly, believe in something higher and stronger than you, that is taking you to a point of success, achievement, and giving your biggest blessing. So with that, that's all I have. I hope to see you on the next episode. And as always, like, keep yourself grounded in peace, contentment. Don't let anything harbor anything that you want to do. Don't let anyone knock you off of your course, and enjoy your day.